is $2,000 a month, $1,992. The average monthly mortgage payment, $3,322. That's a holy damn on damn, kid.
Well, the other thing, too, is I wonder if we're going to start seeing an adjustment in thinking by the American consumer when it comes to homes. Because you're saying right now, and the data seems to be clear, that more people are interested in renting. We've gotten to the point, I feel like, in the last 10 years where the appetite for a starter home for many Americans, it's gotten ridiculously huge, where, you know, our parents growing up, a starter home was a 1,500 square foot ranch, and they were fine with it. It's my starter home. And then they may have found that they could live with that and stayed in that home for 30 years. Now it's like everything has to be 2,500, 3,000 square feet, 4 bedroom, 3 bath, the stainless steel, the granite. And then everyone's looking around like, why is my starter home $450,000? Well, it's because it's 1,000 square feet more than what people were fine with, say, 30 years ago.
It's because the purchaser is unreasonable. This is what I have to have. Oh my gosh, watching those shows on like Home and Garden, HGTV.
Yeah.
You don't make enough money for this house, and you have demands. Demands. These people all need psychological testing.
Well, I'll tell you the other thing too is I just don't know how people survive in states like California, and you're seeing people move out of California because everything has gotten so expensive. You know, I cut the cord like a year and a half ago, but before I did, I would find myself on one of these cable network shows where, you know, it would be a couple looking for 3 houses. The 3 houses to choose from. One is, a fixer-upper, and one would be middle of the road, and the other one would be more of their dream house. And they're looking around in suburban Los Angeles, and it'd be like a 1,200 square foot ranch, and it'd be $1.5 million. Yeah. You'd be like, are you kidding me? The amount of people that I've talked to that have moved from, say, California to the Midwest, and see what kind of house that they can get for $300,000, $400,000 versus what they had to pay in California. I don't know how people do it.
I lived in California, and I can tell you, I don't know how they do it either. The Widow Jane Lucky 13. Try it at your local lounge, for sure. Let us know the flavors you're getting out of that. As for the Room 101, the 10th anniversary, this is in my humidor. This is an absolutely lovely, lovely stick. I'm sorry it took us so long to review Room 101, but man, was it worth the wait. The 10th anniversary, and there's the 11th and the 12th and the 13th. You can try those from Room 101 Cigars. Find everything at eatdrinksmokeshow.com.
After this hypnosis, I want to eat good food.
Since August, I can honestly say I have not had one potato chip.
It was life-changing for me.
And I don't think about desserts like I used to.
Bridget, how much have you lost now?
I had lost a total of 83 pounds.
Holy cow.
It's easy, it's fun, very relaxing, and very successful.
And I would just say go for it.
What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Seminars Thursday, January 25th at the Holiday Inn, Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Or Saturday, January 27th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Registration is 30 minutes before the seminar. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Broadcasting from the Technology Recycler Studios, this is Indy's Mobile News, 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. The news starts now.
scare in the air. I'm Ted Lindner, Fox News. An Alaska Airlines flight forced to make an emergency landing at Portland International Airport Friday night after a large section of the aircraft blew out in midair. Incredibly, no one was hurt. Jeffrey Lindblom of Fox TV affiliate KPTV in Portland has more.
Evan Smith says he was among the passengers aboard the flight heading to Ontario and says they just reached cruising altitude at around 10,000 feet as disaster struck.
There was a really loud bang towards the left rear of the plane. And a whooshing noise.
Smith says he looked back about 6 rows and saw what he believes is a missing side panel.
It's kind of sit there. It's not anything I have any control over, and it's just wait and see what happens.
Smith says he spoke with another passenger who said they were a row behind where the incident occurred.
And they said there was a kid in that row who his shirt was sucked off him and out of the plane, and his mother was holding on to him to make sure he didn't go with it.
He believes some cell phones and other items may have blown out too, and he says it's fortunate they weren't higher in the sky. He also credits the cabin crew for doing what he calls a good job.
The FAA says it'll order the temporary grounding of some Boeing 737 MAX 9 airplanes so they can be inspected. And millions along the eastern U.S. under a winter weather watch this afternoon.
Winter weather alerts have been issued for about 35 million people along the eastern seaboard from Maine to the Carolinas ahead of a developing storm that could become the first nor'easter of the year. Crews are standing by with plows and road salt to prevent residents from crashing in what could turn out to be very dangerous driving conditions in this stormy weather. The National Weather Service predicts the storm could bring heavy snow to the northeast and also flash flooding and severe thunderstorms to the Gulf Coast and Florida over the weekend. Their short-range forecast from the Weather Service predicts 6 to 12 inches of snowfall, mainly north and west of I-95 from Philadelphia to Providence.
Fox's Christina Coleman. America's listening to Fox News.
Streaming now on Fox Nation. Jimmy Fallon, They're Just Jokes.
Do you know how hard it is to fit in at a cable news channel as a cab driver who dresses like an overweight figure skater?
An exclusive comedy event.
My son is 6'5". He's getting a women's basketball scholarship.
Where Jimmy can say,
nobody wants to go to your baby's gender reveal. You know, it's a waste of a football Saturday.
Whatever's on his mind.
Well, if you clap for that, you're not going to like the rest of this joke.
Jimmy Fallon, They're Just Jokes. Streaming now on Fox Nation. Sign up at foxnation.com.
I'm Dana Perino, co-host of The Five and co-anchor of America's Newsroom. Join me for my brand new podcast, Perino on Politics. Every Monday, I'm going to talk to people I trust in politics as they tell me what they're seeing and thinking in the 2024 election cycle. As we usher in the new year, this week, Republican strategist Colin Reed joins me again with a closer look at how things are heating up in the race for the White House and beyond. Available now on Apple, Spotify, and FoxNewsPodcast.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
State troopers will be going after violators of Indiana's move over or slow down law in the new year. I'm Wes Woodward, and here's what's trending this hour. There will be patrols by state police all over Indiana to enforce Indiana's move over or slow down law this year. If you get caught violating it, there could be consequences.
Well, the first offense is a citation that comes with a fine, and it could be a warning. Sometimes we use the opportunity to issue a warning and educate the folks on the law.
State Police Sergeant John Perrine says you'll be charged with a felony if you hit someone on the side of the road while their emergency lights are on, and if it results in them being seriously hurt or killed. A dispute between two men at a bus depot led to a downtown shooting. That man then walked into the Hotel Indy in downtown Indianapolis after being shot across the street Friday at the Indigo Depot. This happening around 10:15 p.m. That man later died after being taken to the hospital. The hotel is just off Delaware Street, about a block north of Gainbridge Fieldhouse, where the Pacers played Friday night. There was a fatal crash involving a garbage truck Friday morning. Harrison Silcox reports.
The Hendricks County Sheriff's Office says the wreck happened when a man driving a Chevrolet pickup truck didn't stop for a stop sign at State Road 39 and a county road not far from Liston. The pickup collided with a garbage truck, and the 25-year-old driving the Chevy died at the scene. The person behind the wheel of the garbage truck was sent to a hospital. They're expected to recover. Investigators do not think alcohol or drugs were a factor in the wreck. Harrison Silcox, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Now here's the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Scattered rain and snow fills back in, not much with additional accumulations. Low temperatures in the low 30s. Sunday will start off with some flurries in the morning. High temperatures in the afternoon checking in the mid 30s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
Hi, it's Steve Mann. Have you heard the commercials for the Mark Patrick Stop Smoking seminars? And they said only $49.99 and it could work for you. So I thought, that's not even a week's worth of smoking. So I went. And guess what? It did work for me. You know, my friends and family are still amazed. I quit smoking. I didn't have cravings, anxiety, or weight gain. Listen, I don't know how it works, but I know it works because I'm living proof, and it's 100% guaranteed. So what do you got to lose? I'll tell you what you got to lose. A very bad habit.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and stop smoking without cravings, irritability, or weight gain. Early bird special only $49.99 guaranteed. Don't just cut down, but stop smoking once and for all or your money back. Seminars 8 p.m. on Thursday, January 25th at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport or 2 p.m. on Saturday, January 27th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Registration is 30 minutes before the seminar. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is the Second Amendment, and this is the Gun Guy.
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, bang, bang.
With Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And good afternoon and welcome to the Gun Guy Show here on 93 WIBC. We're thrilled you're with us. Tell you, I have had a busy day, all 2A related. You hear me pitch my Essentials of Indiana gun law class often here on the show. And yes, I have another one coming up in February, on February 24th. But I had a sold-out class at Indy Arms today. Had a great group, full room, a lot of people very engaged, asking really good questions. But this is all of 5 hours, at least today it was, because we had a lot of discussion, a lot of questions, a lot of hypotheticals. And it was a lot of fun. And I really like it when people are very attentive and enthusiastic, as they tend to be, and this group was no exception. And then I taught a private handgun class to a gentleman who had signed up for a private class, and since he was coming to the gun law class and was going to be right there at Indy Arms, it was a great place to teach a private class. Then I had to hop in the car and hustle my butt on down here and get behind the microphone to do the Gun Guy Show. So it's a full day, but a fun day and a satisfying one. And I'm going to get out of here, being at the lovely downtown studios at 40 Monument Circle, get out of here and get on the road. People, I think, are going to be coming the other direction because we've got a home Colts game tonight, and then we've got a home Pacer game going on at the same time. So tonight, downtown's going to be hopping. I'm going to be heading the opposite direction. Get home and I don't have tickets to this game, so I'm going to be watching it on TV. But a big Colts game. I know you don't tune into the Gun Guy Show to get a sports discussion, but basically, if the Colts win this game, they're in the playoffs. And you know, the over and under from Vegas on how many games the Colts were going to win this year was 4.5, and they've doubled that, and they've exceeded all expectations, mostly with either a rookie quarterback at the beginning of the year, and then a substitute in the form of our quarterback now, and so when you got a backup quarterback and a lot of folks that weren't necessarily expected to perform at the level they have, that's exciting. So I'm hoping for some Minshew magic from our backup quarterback, who's done I think a great job this year. But that's all I'll say about that. But I'm excited, and I'm going to be tuned in to that game at 8:15, I think, is when that one starts. But in the meantime, we've got a lot to talk about on the Second Amendment front, and a lot of the news here focused recently is on the announcement that just came out yesterday. At least that's when I saw it, is that Wayne LaPierre is stepping down as CEO and Executive Vice President of NRA, the National Rifle Association. And listen, the NRA gets really mixed reviews and a really mixed reaction. You go out on social media on some of the gun-related pages that I'll go check out from time to time and mention the NRA. And a lot of times, the first 10 comments you get are going to be some use of profanity and NRA associated with each other. A lot of, quote unquote, screw the NRA type stuff. And because a lot of people have lost faith in or lost patience in the NRA, including a lot of gun owners. And I've got real mixed emotions about that. And I've been very consistent with what I've been saying about NRA for quite some time. But where did this come from? And for a gun owner to turn really against and become critical of what has historically been the leading gun rights organization in the country and the leading defender of the Second Amendment, as far as nonprofit organizations go, that takes some doing. And I think some of it's absolutely fair, and some of the criticism they've gotten. And I think a lot of the criticism directed at Wayne LaPierre specifically as leader of the NRA is completely warranted. And I personally am glad to see him go. I wish he would have gone some time ago. He's been CEO and executive vice president, essentially the leader of NRA, so I think it's like 91 or something, a really long time, over 30 years. And during that time, I think is when NRA has really lost a lot of prestige, and they've also lost a lot of money, and they've also lost membership. And this is all related. It's all connected. And a lot of it, I think, falls right at the doorstep of Wayne LaPierre. And listen, one of the leading criticisms that you get from NRA, and some of the criticisms of NRA are absolutely warranted and based on facts. Some of it I think is a little unfair. But a lot of the criticism is based on the fact that NRA became known for compromise. That is, they were willing to concede gun control measures. They would give up some ground as part of a negotiation process if they felt like they were preserving ground or preserving freedoms is a better word, in some other area. And for instance, this goes all the way back to 1986 and probably before, but in 1986, we had the Firearm Owners Protection Act, which is an appropriate name as to some of that act, but is absolutely not appropriate for others. Because, for instance, in the Firearm Owners Protection Act of 1986, it's got a safe passage provision, a lot of us call it, which is a way to travel with firearms cross-country as long as you're legal at your point of origin and legal at your destination. You can travel through other states where the firearms you're carrying may not be legal, as long as they're unloaded and in a locked container separate from the passenger compartment. And I'm paraphrasing, so check that out and just Google Firearm Owners Protection Act of 1986 and see the specifics. But basically, you have an unloaded firearm that's locked up and is in the trunk, for instance, or in a locked container. If your vehicle doesn't have a trunk separate from any ammunition, you can go cross-country and travel through states where your firearm may not be legal. And that's what the Firearm Owners Protection Act of 86 did for us, and that's significant. Now, do I trust that necessarily? Do I think every law enforcement officer in Illinois is going to know that I can pass through Illinois with my quote-unquote unregistered assault weapon? Because there's new legislation in Illinois on that very issue. And if you hear me use the word assault weapon, don't call the studio and yell at me for using a term that's merely a political term that is made up to demonize the most commonly owned rifles in America. I know this, and I've been saying that for a long time. I just use it because that's the term used by the politicians when they pass these statutes. You and I know that assault weapon is a silly political term. But your semi-automatic rifle with a detachable magazine that holds multiple rounds, what you and I would call a standard capacity magazine, that's now been banned in Illinois, although if they're currently owned, you can register them and make them legal. And how enthused would you be about doing that? Yeah, I live in Illinois. I own my AR-15. I own multiple 30-round magazines. And I'm going to go register that firearm by make, model, and serial number and give that information to the government. What could go wrong? A whole heck of a lot. But that's a separate topic, and I'll get to that because, by the way, we're seeing massive noncompliance with that law, given some deadlines coming up here, I believe, on January 10th. But the Firearm Owners Protection Act, to return to that, that's where you can travel through Illinois, theoretically, assuming the officers there understand the law, and be legal, even though you're carrying a firearm that's now banned in Illinois, as long as you're legal in a place where you left, your origin, and legal in your destination. Of course, you have to be able to prove where you came from and where you're going. So like a hotel reservation or something along those lines would be necessary. But that's a nice thing. That's a nice provision of the Firearm Owners Act. I can say it. Firearm Owners Protection Act of 1986. But what else do we get out of that act? And what was supported by Ronnie Reagan, at least he signed it. He was in office at this time in 1986, but also reportedly signed or at least supported is the more proper term by the National Rifle Association, is what we call the Hughes Amendment. And the Hughes Amendment was slipped into the Firearm Owners Protection Act of 1986, and it made any automatic firearm, that is a firearm where when you pull the trigger, you get more than one round out of the muzzle, it made that illegal if you hadn't already registered that firearm prior to, I believe it was April 19th, 1986. So if you didn't own it and possess it prior to that time, if it hadn't been imported or sold prior to that time, you couldn't register any firearm after that as fully automatic. You've had to register them since 1934 under the National Firearms Act. So if you hadn't already registered it, then it banned the importation or sale of any additional fully automatic firearms and prohibited the additional registration of any firearms after 1986. So we didn't eliminate the legality of fully automatic firearms, but we capped the number of them in civilian hands as of then and dramatically inflated the value. I mean, what an M16, a Vietnam era fully automatic M16, what that was worth prior to the Hughes Amendment of the NRA, of the Firearm Owners Protection Act. See, I've been talking all day. Now I'm getting tongue-tied. Before the Firearm Owners Protection Act made additional registration or import or sale of automatic firearms illegal, the value before that act was passed and the value after these automatic firearms there's no proportion. I mean, people are out there getting $30,000 for automatic firearms, like a Tommy gun, a Thompson submachine gun, typically .45 caliber. It's fully automatic, or other guns that were registered before 1986 that are transferable, therefore legal, dramatically inflated that market. I mean, by many, many multitudes. And NRA reportedly supported that. And it got a lot of criticism. And a lot of people have been holding a grudge ever since. And that was 1986. It's almost 40 years ago. But then what have we seen happen since then? I'll tell you what, we're at the quarter hour. We're going to take a break. I'm going to talk a little bit more about some of this animosity directed at NRA, why I think that is, and where we go from here now that Wayne LaPierre has stepped down as Chief Executive Officer and President or Executive Vice President of NRA. He has been the leader of NRA as CEO, make no mistake. We'll talk a little bit more about that history and where we are now, and also begin to take your calls. Give us a call. Join the discussion, 317-239-9393. That's 317-239-9393. We're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
As we turn the calendar to the new year, the Indiana Hoosiers turn their calendar to the Big Ten season. Coach Mike Woodson and the Hoosiers are preparing for big games.
Indiana's gonna win it.
Big hopes. Big Ten. Ohio State heads to Bloomington to take on the Hoosiers. Tonight, John Herrick with the pregame at 7. Don Fisher with the tip at 8 on your home for IU basketball. 93 WIBC.
Guy Relford for Tactical Firearms Training. You know, as I mentioned, I taught a great class, Essentials of Indiana Gun Law class. It was sold out up at Indy Arms. Well, we've got another class scheduled. Well, this one's about half full already. So if you want to sign up for this, I wouldn't wait too long. But this is 4.5 to 5 hours. We want the full 5 hours today. People got a lot of information, a lot of great discussion on the most important legal information that you need as an Indiana gun owner. A very important discussion on the use of force in self-defense, what's justified, what's not, where you can and can't carry a firearm, how to avoid very commonly prosecuted crimes like pointing a firearm or intimidation with a deadly weapon, and much, much more. Again, it's 5 full hours of what you really need to know as an Indiana gun owner. You can register for that right online at tactical-firearms.com. It's $50 for an individual, $95 for couples. Just click on upcoming courses at tactical-firearms.com.
Hi, I'm Tom Connors. Went to Mark Patrick's hypnosis seminar February 6, 2019. Nothing worked before. Left there and never smoked again. Amazing. Easy, affordable, and guaranteed. A year later, with my wife Michelle, attended Mark Patrick's weight loss seminar. She lost 18 pounds, and I lost 43 in 8 weeks.
It's true. He smoked 2 packs a day, and nothing worked until Mark Patrick Hypnosis. Now we're losing weight together, eating healthy, full on half the food. Crazy. Enjoying exercising. Who would have believed Mark Patrick Hypnosis really works?
It's amazing. I can breathe again. My blood pressure went down, and I've got so much energy.
So much energy.
And look great.
Join Mark Patrick Seminars. Early bird special only $49.99. Thursday, January 25th, Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 5:30. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Or Saturday, January 27th, Holiday Inn Express and Suites Noblesville. Weight loss 11 a.m. Stop smoking 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
A house isn't a home without a little wear and tear, spilled milk, or muddy paws. But don't just clean it, quick shine it. Hey, Pat Sullivan here for Quick Shine Finishes and Cleaners with some Floor Care 101 tips. First, no matter the surface type, be sure to remove dust and debris. Avoid heavy chemicals or all-purpose liquids as they can damage the sealant layer or leave an oily residue. Now, to best clean and protect your floors at a modest price, don't just clean it, quick shine it. Quick Shine Finishes and Cleaners use non-toxic ingredients, making it better for kids, pets, and the environment. With an EPA Safe Choice certification, and QuickShine has a full line of products to treat any surface, including their floor cleaner, floor finisher, and hardwood floor luster. I use it on my own floors. Made right here in Central Indiana for over 60 years by Holloway House, a family-owned company. QuickShine Finishes and Cleaners is available at retailers everywhere.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
500 Guns is just east of the Speedway and the Viaduct on 16th Street. Joe and Guy Montgomery are the experts to trust when you want to buy or sell guns. They buy single guns or entire collections. If you've decided this is the year to become a gun owner or to add to your collection, don't buy until you visit 500 Guns. Contrary to what many think, you actually can get better pricing at 500 Guns than at the big box stores, and a lot better service. See them today. 500 Guns, West 16th Street, Indianapolis.
The Boston Celtics are coming, not once, but twice this week.
Halliburton goes inside, his pass leads to a Laura dunk.
Pacer fans, get ramped up.
McConnell another steal ahead to Turner, right to the goal with a right-hand slam.
That's right, the Pacers collide with the Celtics twice this week. Cheer on the blue and gold both Saturday and Monday. Both games tip off at 7. Tickets are going fast. Get your tickets at pacers.com/tickets. That's pacers.com/tickets.
Together, we can provide 1 billion meals by 2030 because everyone should be welcome at the table. Learn more at nourishingneighbors.com.
Indy Humane. Find your new best friend today. Visit indyhumane.org.
Second to none on the Second Amendment. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. As I mentioned, we always want to take your calls here on the Gun Guy Show. I started as a guest on other people's show where they just had a feature called Ask the Gun Lawyer back in the day. And by the way, I'm this next year, 2024, will be my 10th anniversary of having this show, which is amazing to me. I think a lot of people would never have predicted a pro-Second Amendment show would have that kind of life expectancy. And lo and behold, we've surprised a lot of people. But I started, like I said, just as a guest on other people's shows, and it was just purely call in. That's all we did was answer questions, and that's our heritage. That's why we take calls throughout the 2-hour show. So you got a question or a comment, especially about the discussion we're having at the time, give us a call, 317-239-9393. We always like taking calls from our listeners. But back to the NRA. So really, I think a lot of this started with the Hughes Amendment, where essentially we lost, to a very large degree anyway, we lost the availability of automatic firearms. And can you imagine, though, if those were more widely used today, the way they talk about semi-automatic firearms and all this assault weapon, this and that, I can't imagine what like Moms Demand Action and the Bloomberg crowd would be saying about fully automatic firearms. But, the issue was that we didn't really see crimes committed with them at the time. And it always kind of makes me ask the question when I see various gun control measures, well, what problem are you trying to fix? I mean, even the so-called assault weapon ban, assault weapon ban that we see like in Illinois, that's just going into effect as we speak. I mean, how many crimes were actually committed with those? Year to year, the FBI reports that, for instance, knives are used in something like 4 to 6 times more often to commit murders in the United States than all rifles combined, with so-called assault weapons, quote unquote, only comprising a very small percentage of that. In fact, we had an assault weapon ban from 94 to 04, and a study done by the National Institute of Justice, and this is the research arm of the Department of Justice, and we had research done as that law was set to expire. The government's own research agency went out and studied how much violence was actually prevented by having a quote-unquote assault weapon ban on the books for 10 years. And their conclusion was, were it to be renewed based on historical facts, the real difference in terms of violent crime would likely be too small to measure. And that's a quote. And the reason for that is because so-called assault weapons were used in such an incredibly small number of crimes to begin with. Less than 2%. So again, what problems are these people trying to fix when they pass these laws? And that's certainly true. It would be true if we still had the availability of automatic firearms. So NRA started getting a lot of criticism over the Hughes Amendment that we saw in 1986, and here much more recently. And I was vocal about this after the Las Vegas shooting. Still the largest mass shooting in terms of fatalities we've seen here in the United States, and it was absolutely horrific. Some of the video is just heart-wrenching. But it's where a guy broke out some windows of the Mandalay Bay Hotel from an elevated floor and started shooting down at a country music festival across the street. And I've stayed in the Mandalay Bay Hotel. I know exactly what we're talking about. And he had an elevated position and was just spraying this country music festival with firearms. And he reportedly used a bump stock. And I've said here on the show before, I'll say to the day I die, in watching those videos and hearing the audio from the videos that were released, it did not sound like a bump stock to me. That sounded like a belt-fed, fully automatic machine gun is what it sounded like to me. And I still don't think we're getting the straight scoop. I'm not big on conspiracy theories. I'm not even close to being big on conspiracy theories. I tend to roll my eyes at most. But we're not getting a straight scoop on Vegas. I will continue to believe that. But he reportedly used a bump stock. So what happened immediately after that? The NRA came out and said, we invite the ATF to reassess the legality of bump stocks. The NRA issued a public statement saying that. Now, what were they thinking? I'll guarantee you they were thinking, well, if we give up bump stocks, because nobody really cares about bump stocks, and I've said often right here on the show, I think bump stocks are stupid. Bump stock is an accessory that allows the stock of the gun essentially to bounce off your shoulder. And you don't need a bump stock to shoot this way. You can do it with a rubber band. You can do it with a belt loop. I've done both. But it makes it easier to allow the gun to bounce off your shoulder. And if you just maintain your finger in a fixed position, as the gun bounces back and forth, it'll cause the gun to fire every time it bounces forward again. You pull the trigger just by holding your gun or your trigger finger steady. And so you can fire a gun very rapidly like that. Does it sound somewhat like fully automatic fire? Yes. So since the Las Vegas shooter reportedly used a bump stock, what did we have happen in the aftermath? NRA, I'll guarantee you, was thinking they're going to want to ban assault weapons, which they clearly did. And there's going to be some momentum to banning assault weapons in Congress, and some conservative members of Congress may be more swayed to vote in favor of that because we've had this horrific shooting. And so NRA clearly thought, well, what if we just give them bump stocks? And like I said, bump stocks are stupid. You're trading accuracy for rate of fire, which in most scenarios is just stupid. You bring a bump stock to my range, even when they were legal, I'm going to roll my eyes at you. So since nobody much cares about bump stocks, let's sacrifice bump stocks as a means of preserving our freedoms in other areas, including avoiding an assault weapon ban, because we'll make them happy with a bump stock ban. But, you know, I put out a meme that I put on social media that I created myself, and I said, "Dear NRA," because I wanted to communicate that they're not understanding. You would think the NRA, more than anyone else, would know this. These people don't go away. The people that want to assault your gun rights, you don't give them a little bit and they get happy and say, well, I'm done now. It's a war of attrition. It's a war of attrition until they completely gutted the Second Amendment. And they've put out public declarations on various anti-two-way websites. They're trying to kill the Second Amendment through a death by 1,000 cuts. Every little bit they get, all that just ratchets in one direction. You never get any rights back. And so I put out a meme that I created, and it said, "Dear NRA, when the wolves are at the door, you don't throw them a scrap of meat and expect them to go away." And I thought that very effectively communicated what I was trying to say. All you do is make these people more ravenous. They get to celebrate their success because they've eliminated one gun accessory, and they'll go right on to their next project. And if that's an assault weapon ban, you're going to be facing it the exact same way as you were before. But what you have also done, and this was the huge mistake, and President Trump is the one who called for this. President Trump, right on TV, I was watching the live conference at the time, said, "Oh, bump stocks are gone. I've told ATF, bump stocks are gone." And the NRA said, we invite the ATF to reevaluate the legality of bump stocks. What is the huge mistake in that? It's not just giving away bump stocks. Again, I don't care about bump stocks as such. If they'd never been invented, it wouldn't have bothered me a bit. What do I care hugely about? I care about precedent where the ATF, with no involvement of Congress, where an administrative agency just goes and rewrites its own regulations and changes a law passed by Congress, in that case, to redefine what an automatic firearm is, so as to include bump stocks. And a quote-unquote conservative president being all behind that. And I said at the time, you're giving ATF the ability on its own, with a full endorsement of NRA and the full endorsement of Donald Trump, to create the precedent that with the stroke of their pen, remember Obama used to say, well, I can't get any gun control passed in Congress, but I have a phone and a pen? What was he talking about? He was calling for administrative regulation to do what Congress refused to do. What does that violate? It violates the Constitution, and specifically Article 1, Section 1 that says all legislative power shall be vested in the Congress of the United States. It's called a vesting clause. And there's a reason it's right up front, because only Congress makes laws. The executive branch, including administrative agencies that report to the president, don't make laws. But the NRA said, oh yeah, sure, ATF, make bump stocks illegal. Donald Trump said exactly the same thing. And what have we seen since then? What have we seen since then? Ghost guns regulation, so-called ghost guns, another silly term, but homemade, self-made firearms that don't have to be serialized. Now, they're only for personal use. If you transfer one, you sell one, you've just committed a crime under federal law. But all of a sudden, they start making gun parts regulated just like firearms and tried real hard. Pistol braces, just through a regulation, should have been written by Congress. They changed the definition of a short-barreled rifle and interpreted pistols with pistol braces on them to be short-barreled rifles that have to be registered under the NFA. And it goes on from there. There are multiple other examples. And all that precedent was set at the instance, even a request, of the NRA and Donald Trump. It's not about bump stocks. It's about the precedent of an administrative agency changing a law when only Congress has the legislative ability under Article 1, Section 1 of the Constitution. That's what it's about. So I'm out posting publicly being critical of NRA. A lot of other people were too. And again, I think this is a time when NRA started losing credibility because people saw them as simply conceding too much. Now, when we come back, we're well past the bottom of the hour. It's past time to take a break. We come back, I'm going to talk about how I have somewhat of a, I wouldn't say it's love-hate, kind of love-frustration relationship with NRA, because there's a lot to love about NRA, particularly what they do right here at the local level and what they've done historically right here in Indiana and in other states, which is tremendous. And people lose sight of this. And I always want to remind people of this. And I'll get more into that and go to the phone lines with some people have called in. And I want to go to the phone lines. We come back and take anyone else who calls in. We'll bring you right onto the show. Give us a call, 317-239-9393. That's 317-239-9393. Sky Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
We feel.
Feel it as soon as you step out the door.
What you feel.
Bundle up. Feels like winter.
It's gonna be more like summertime.
All the feels.
It feels a little like winter.
Feels more like summer.
Of fall.
It's kind of the clash of two seasons.
Weather. When you need it.
The ebbs and flows this time of the year is so evident.
On your official fall weather station. 93 WIBC.
It's important to take care of your personal health and home health during the colder season to ensure a comfortable and safe environment for you and your family. If you're seeing signs like cracks or leaks seen within your home's interior or exterior walls, nasty smells, mold or mildew in your crawl space, sticking doors or windows, heightened or worsening allergies and asthma even while you're indoors, pests or bugs popping up, uneven, sagging or bouncy floors, or drainage issues, then your home is unhealthy and suffering from major foundation, crawl space, or basement water issues. Don't ignore what your home is telling you. Schedule a time for Indiana Foundation Service trained and certified field inspectors to stop by and check out what might be causing the problem. Visit IndianaFoundation.com now to book a free inspection. That's IndianaFoundation.com. Indiana Foundation Service. There's a reason they are the trusted local experts.
Indiana Foundation Service. Reliability from the ground up.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Indianapolis area attorneys. 101 West Ohio Street, Suite 1250, Indianapolis, Indiana 46204.
All of us have a role to play in promoting a mental health friendly workplace.
So what can I do to help?
As a CEO, I can set the tone for a supportive culture.
As a manager, I can offer assistance and accommodations.
As a coworker, I can be a source of support.
As someone with a mental health condition, I can ask for what I need to perform my best.
What can I do?
What can I do?
I can remind others that none of us are alone.
And that we all benefit from workplaces that promote good mental health.
Learn more at whatcanyoudocampaign.org.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by BillEstisTrucks.com.
Fox News, I'm Roger Stern. No word yet on what caused part of the fuselage to come off an Alaska Airlines Boeing 737 MAX, causing a powerful decompression. Evan Smith spoke with a fellow passenger.
He said there was a kid in that row who his shirt was sucked off him and out of the plane, and his mother was holding on to him to make sure he didn't go with it.
The plane made a safe emergency landing. Other planes have been grounded pending inspection. Little more than a week until the Iowa caucuses, and former President Trump is campaigning hard.
He said President Biden's presidency has been a disaster for the country, and Trump is promising if he's reelected on day number one, he says he will start unraveling some of the policies he feels is damaging the country.
That's Fox's Bill Malugin. America is listening to Fox News.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
I'm Darren Andrews from We Grow Hair Indy, and 18 years ago, I got my hair back.
I'm Rob, and 2 years ago, I got my hair back. Let this be your year to get your hair back and get your confidence back. Go to WeGrowHairIndy.com right now. We Grow Hair Indy has the multi-unit hair grafting hair transplant. That was the procedure that was best for me. Their easy 30-minute PRP and laser treatments fit into any man or woman's schedule. Find out which procedure is right for you. Call 317-522-2995 for your free hair and scalp evaluation.
I'm Rick DeMoline, former professional football player. I got my hair back. Hey, Barry Krause, #1 draft pick. I got my hair back.
Join me and thousands of others and get your hair back. Call 317-522-2995 or visit WeGrowHairIndy.com. That's 317-522-2995. This year, get your hair back. Get your confidence back.
The show about gun rights, gun safety, and responsible gun ownership. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. We're glad you're with us. By the way, we love all of our advertisers here on The Gun Guy Show and at 93 WIBC generally. I think it's a little suspect that they run a hair replacement ad during my show. I think that's targeted directly at me. And I think, like, for instance, anybody watching on the YouTube feed, calling in is going to say, yeah, looking at Guy, I definitely need to look into hair replacement. I'm taking that personally. And I say that in complete jest because I've heard great things about that company, although I decided 20-some years ago that I was done having hair. I've been shaving it ever since. But I'll tell you what, let's go to the phone lines. Buzz has called in and been on hold for a while. Buzz, welcome back to the Gun Guy Show, buddy.
Hey, Happy New Year, guys.
Thank you. You too, man.
Okay, my first question is, doesn't the murder rate and the violent crime go down once we've established constitutional carry?
Yeah, I mean that's what most of the statistics have shown, that it either stays the same or goes down. You can cherry pick the data, just take like 1 year and look at it, but overall, if you look at all the data across all the states, and there are 26 states now that have constitutional carry, then that's what the data typically show. And I think it's been interesting is that what we heard from the Democrats when we were fighting for constitutional carry was that there was going to be blood in the streets. It was going to dramatically increase the murder rate and murder of police officers and all these other horrible things. And yet I hear from right here in Indianapolis anyway, where I'm sitting here doing the show, the Oxford administration is crowing over the fact that murders are down almost 20% in Marion County. And that's since we passed constitutional carry. So they want to repeal constitutional carry as part of this local gun control that's currently illegal. That's why they passed an ordinance that would do exactly that if the preemption law were repealed or amended to allow them to do so, and there's a bill pending that would let them do just that. They want to repeal constitutional carry after murders are down almost 20%. 18 was the number I saw, percent since we passed it. Does that make any sense, Buzz?
No, not at all. That's why he'll never admit to that. But my next question is, why don't we make a call to Ollie North and see about getting him back into the NRA fold?
Well, I'm going to, after we get through the phone lines here, I'm going to be back to this discussion about NRA. I'm going to talk about Ollie North a little bit and some of that intrigue that occurred. I'll tell you what, let's take another call. Jim's been on hold for a while. Let's go back to the phone lines. And Jim, welcome to the Gun Guy Show.
Hey, Guy. Thanks for everything that you do.
Sure. My pleasure.
Hypothetically, let's say my girlfriend and I, we both have our carry permits. We're out to dinner, and for some reason, I may not have carried my gun, but she has hers in her purse, and something happens, and I grab her gun to protect myself. Is there any, recourse if I use her gun to?
Oh, no.
And let's say I have to use it, or vice versa.
No, not at all, Jim. And thanks for asking. I cover transfer of firearms in the course that I teach, Essentials of Indiana Gun Law, and I covered that today. But we don't have gun registration in Indiana or at the federal level. So when people will say things like, "Well, that gun's in my name," well, there may be a record in a gun store. The gun store, if you bought your gun in a gun store, of you being the original purchaser. But that doesn't register that gun to you. That doesn't make that exclusively your gun. If you want to give that to somebody as a gift, as long as you don't know them to be a prohibited possessor, it's totally legal for you to gift that gun and give it to them permanently. You can entrust your gun to another person. You can lend your gun. So somebody wants to go to the range, goes, "Man, I really want to take your new Ruger Security 9. Which, by the way, I shot one of those today in this private lesson that I taught, and I was really surprised. It had a nice trigger, and I'm going to have to look more at that gun because I did not expect the trigger to be as nice and the ergonomics on that gun to be as nice as they were. But you can allow somebody to handle your gun. Like I said, somebody wants to borrow your new Ruger Security 9. Because they want to shoot it at the range, you can say, "Here, have a good time." As long as you don't know them to be a prohibited possessor, like a felon or someone who's been found to be quote-unquote dangerous under the red flag statute. And I cover all the prohibited possessors under both state and federal law in my course. But it's totally legal if you don't have any reason to believe that they're a prohibited possessor. So a temporary transfer like you're talking about, just to use your gun to defend her and defend yourself, is totally appropriate. If she wanted to just give you that gun permanently, that's totally appropriate. And I've had people call in and say, "Well, don't I need to go register my gun if I, like for instance, get a gun gifted to me by my parents or my grandparents?" And no, there's no such thing as registration. You go down to your local police department, say, "I want to register my gun," they'll look at you like you're crazy. Now, some police departments across the state will voluntarily keep a registration of guns. So if somebody wants to go in and say, hey, I want to give you the make, model, and serial number of my gun and have you keep a record of that, so I don't know, we'll have that if it's stolen or something like that. Some police departments, especially in small towns, I have heard, will do that just as a service. But it's not required. It's not part of the law. So the transfer you're talking about, Jim, would be totally appropriate. And it could be a permanent transfer as well. I'll tell you what, we're trying to catch up here. I think we'll be back for a really short segment as we approach the top of the hour. We're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
As we turn the calendar to the new year, the Indiana Hoosiers turn their calendar to the Big Ten season. Coach Mike Woodson and the Hoosiers are preparing for big games.
Indiana's going to win it.
Big hopes. Big Ten. Ohio State heads to Bloomington to take on the Hoosiers. Tonight, John Herrick with the pregame at 7. Don Fisher with the tip at 8 on your home for IU basketball. 93 WIBC.
Guy Relford for Pinnacle Firearms. You know, my friends at Pinnacle Firearms, and I don't say that lightly. I've known some of these people in there, the owner, for 30, 40 years. Sales manager, I went to high school with and played football with in college. Football with in high school, I should say. And these are my friends. They run a great business. They're located at 598 West Carmel Drive in Carmel. It's a little bit north of Carmel Drive, corner of Clark Street. And it's a great place to buy firearms, ammunition, or accessories. They also have an on-site gunsmith, which is just a great service for a gun store to have. And they do expert refinishing right there on the premises. In fact, they did a urban camo Cerakote on my Police Magnum 870 short-barreled shotgun. That's just beautiful, and I get a lot of great comments on it whenever I break that guy out at the range. And you can have things like that done as well, again, and shop there for your guns, ammunition, and accessories. Check out my friends at pinnaclefirearms.com, 598 West Carmel Drive in Carmel, or pinnacle-firearms.com.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone. Done. By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Denny Smith for Zero Res and their best deal of the year. It's 23% off all services and goodbye to 2023. Here's the best part. Carpets, tiles, rugs, upholstery, and basically every service in your home can be Zero Resified with deep cleaning you can love. The holidays are over. It's time to get things back in order without doing it yourself. Zero Res has the gotta love it guarantee, and at 23% off in this best deal of the year, now's the time to be taking care of cleaning. Zero Res service is easy to line up, and you can go online at zeroresindy.com to do the scheduling at your convenience. And don't forget the ZR water difference. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, leaving things really clean. Now mention WIBC and get 23% off virtually all their cleaning services, even their duct cleaning. That's right, air duct cleaning, and it'll help improve the air quality in your home, help reduce your energy costs, and help you just breathe easier. 317-388-5141 or online at zeroresindy.com.
500 Guns is just east of the Speedway and the Viaduct on 16th Street. Joe and Guy Montgomery are the experts to trust when you want to buy or sell guns. They buy single guns or entire collections. If you've decided this is the year to become a gun owner or to add to your collection, don't buy until you visit 500 Guns. Contrary to what many think, you actually can get better pricing at 500 Guns than at the big box stores, and a lot better service. See them today. 500 Guns, West 16th Street, Indianapolis.
Roofs leak, pipes burst, and toilets overflow. When you're in over your head, Michaelis keeps theirs. A rescue-ready water damage team that responds around the clock. With more than 35 years of experience, they're wet everywhere, except behind the ears. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Hey, you're up next. My throat hurts so bad. There's no way I can sing tonight. Here, try these. Vicks VapoCool Drops. Yeah, Vicks VapoCool Drops has maximum strength menthol with a rush of Vicks Vapors. Ooh, I can already feel it. I told you. So, you ready? I'm ready.
Vaporize sore throat pain fast with Vicks VapoCool Drops.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper, and you can get it online? Go to hims.com/joy. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, and the process is 100% online. To start your free online visit, go to hims.com/joy. That's HIMS.com/JOY.
There's a lot of sexy content on the internet. And there's WIBC, full of faces meant for radio. Hammer and Nigel, Kendall and Casey. Okay, Casey could be on TV. Now streaming every day on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/WIBC. Your rights, your responsibilities, your guns. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
Well, welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. I was talking about Wayne LaPierre stepping down as Executive Vice President and CEO, Chief Executive Officer of NRA. And a lot of us, I think, are relieved this has happened. And a lot of it goes back to what I think can only be seen as some mismanagement in NRA, and also allegations. And a lot of these seem to have some substance behind them of mismanagement of funds. And I'll go into more detail on that, but also how much NRA is been spending on litigation costs. And look, I'm a litigation lawyer, so I'm not mad at the lawyers out there representing NRA and trying to preserve them as an effective gun rights organization here in the United States. But some of it goes to what led to all that litigation to begin with, including how NRA has chosen to spend a lot of your money and mine that we've sent in to support that organization in terms of membership fees. And look, I'm a benefactor life member of NRA. I've sent a lot of money to the folks at NRA. And I believe we need a strong, effective NRA to help us preserve Second Amendment rights in this country, particularly at the federal level. And NRA has been great support for us right here locally, and I'll talk more about that when we come back after the top of the hour. But some of the problems they're having now, including some of the litigation they're embroiled in, are its own damn fault. And some of it comes from the really outlandish spending that we've seen specifically from Wayne LaPierre. And he's spending your money and mine. And I think that's why we have some folks are glad he's gone. I'll get more into all of that and continue to take your calls when we come back. Right now, as we approach the top of the hour, we're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
In order for small businesses to thrive, they need to be smart, efficient, savvy, staying ahead of the market at every turn, finding ways to do more with less, and taking advantage of every opportunity that comes their way. That's why Comcast Business is introducing the Small Business Bonus. For a limited time, you can get up to a $1,000 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle when you switch to Comcast Business, the company with the largest, fastest, reliable network. So if you're a small business owner, don't wait. Call or go online to learn about the $1,000 bonus today.
Give your business a head start in 2024. Get started with internet and security for $49 a month for 12 months with a 2-year agreement when you add one unlimited mobile line. Call or go online to switch today. Ends 2/21/24. Restrictions apply. New customers only with 100 megabits per second internet and security edge. EcoBill and autopay required. Equipment, taxes, and fees extra.
Hey, I don't know about you, but this winter weather has already got me thinking about my next vacation. And I don't go anywhere on vacation without my AAA card. AAA is your peace of mind. I mean, whether we're talking about a Caribbean cruise, or exploring Europe, visiting Alaska, heading to Disney with the family, you shouldn't go anywhere without that AAA card. I don't. And now AAA can even help you plan your next vacation.
Exclusive vacation deals, expert presentations, complimentary travel planning, and more. And the best part? It's free. You don't even have to be a AAA member to attend. So whether you're looking to travel this year, next year, or beyond, save the date for the AAA Vacation Expo, Saturday, January 13th at the JW Marriott downtown. Get more information and pre-register for your chance to win a $500 AAA travel voucher at AAA.com/expo.
AE Ammo is Greenwood's ammunition superstore. The largest variety in training, hunting, and self-defense ammo with the best prices locally guaranteed. Factory new 9mm FMJ ammo starting at $12 per 50-round box. Factory new 50-round boxes, $380 from $14.99 and 45 ACP from $18.99. And with the AE Ammo Customer Rewards Program, start earning points today towards money back to use on future purchases. Shop in-store or online at aeammo.com.
I stopped smoking with Mark Patrick's hypnosis when nothing else worked. 1 year later, my wife Michelle and I attended the Mark Patrick Weight Loss Hypnosis Seminar. In 2 months, lost 43 pounds, and she lost 18 pounds.
And we feel great.
Seminars January 25th at the Holiday Inn, Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar, 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar, 8 p.m. Or January 27th, Holiday Inn Express and Suites, Noblesville. Weight loss seminar, 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar, 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Broadcasting from the Technology Recycler Studios, this is Indy's Mobile News. 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. The news starts now.
Part of the plane blew off. I'm Roger Stern, Fox News. The FAA grounding several Boeing 737-9 MAX jets pending inspection after a side panel from an Alaska Airlines flight flew off last night. The plane was taking off from Portland when part of the fuselage of the plane blew out. Evan Smith was a passenger on board.
There was a kid in that row who his shirt was sucked off him and out of the plane, and his mother was holding on to him to make sure he didn't go with it.
No one was hurt, and the plane made an emergency landing back at Portland. Israel and Lebanon-based Hezbollah have traded fire in one of the heaviest days of cross-border fighting in recent weeks. It comes a day after the Hezbollah leader urged retaliation for the targeted killing of a top Hamas leader in Lebanon's capital of Beirut. The killing widely blamed on Israel. All this is happening as Secretary of State Antony Blinken starts his fourth Mideast trip in 3 months in hopes of preventing a regional confrontation. Flu cases on the rise across the U.S. Fox's Madison Scarpino in Atlanta.
Doctors say that influenza is back with a vengeance, and that's after COVID really was the dominant respiratory illness over the last 3 years. Now, more than 10 million flu cases so far this season, according to the CDC. After families spent time together for the holidays, flu cases are spiking coast to coast, with the heaviest concentration here in the southeast and out west. More than 110,000 flu hospitalizations since October, and medical experts expect influenza to be around well into February. The CDC recommends that everyone 6 months or older gets the flu vaccine.
And America is listening to Fox News.
Connect to Fox News Audio on the Fox News app. Listen to hear your favorite hosts like Brian Kilmeade, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson standing up for what's right, live and via podcast. Just click listen, then swipe right and hear the latest news updates on your time. And scroll down to hear the latest podcasts from Fox News. And it's even easier to listen in the car with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Get programming alerts and notifications. Fox News Audio is on the Fox News app. The voices America trusts. Download it now. From the Fox News Podcasts Network.
I'm Ben Domenech, Fox News contributor and editor of the Transom.com daily newsletter, and I'm inviting you to join a conversation every week with the smartest thinkers out there about the issues Americans face and where we're going as a nation. This show will feature deep dive interviews with newsmakers and some of your favorite Fox News analysts. I hope you'll join me as we dive into the fray. It's the Ben Domenech Podcast.
Subscribe and listen now by going to foxnewspodcasts.com or wherever you download podcasts.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
A dispute between two men at a bus depot leads to a downtown shooting. I'm Wes Woodward, and here's what's trending this hour. That injured man that walked into a downtown Indianapolis hotel after that shooting on Friday night has died. A dispute between two men at the Indigo bus depot across the street led to the shooting. The shooter fled the scene. The man shot walked into Hotel Indy where people called police around 10:15 p.m. The man later died after being taken to the hospital. Investigators are collecting surveillance video from the area for leads. Wes Woodward, 93 WIBC Mobile News. State police are investigating him for financial crimes. Ryan Hedrick reports on a former Hoosier school superintendent.
Dr. Rich Arkanoff retired on Friday, and the Center Grove School District told parents that Arkanoff is being investigated by state police. The district says that once there's an inconsistency in an employee's reimbursement tracking, they are required to notify state police, so that's what they've done. Assistant Superintendent Bill Long will take over on Monday. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC, Mobile News.
A woman from Indianapolis went missing, and police say they could use your help in finding her. John Herrick reports.
IMPD says Renee Edwards went missing the day after Christmas and was last seen on East 82nd Street, which is on Indy's north side near the intersection of 86th and North Meridian Streets. They believe she may be driving a red Mazda CX-3 and she could need medical attention. If you see her, call 911 immediately. To see a picture of Edwards, go to WIBC.com. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
I'm Wes Woodward, on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com. Now here's the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Scattered rain and snow fills back in, not much with additional accumulations. Low temperatures in the low 30s. Sunday will start off with some flurries in the morning. High temperatures in the afternoon, checking in the mid 30s. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis to destroy unwanted cravings. Also, stop smoking with Mark Patrick. Destroy your desire to smoke without cravings, irritability, weight gain, or your money back. Seminars Thursday, January 25th at the Holiday Inn Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. And Saturday, January 27th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Register at markpatrickseminars.com.
Every year, millions of people find a health plan at healthcare.gov during open enrollment. They enjoy more doctor visits, pick up prescriptions, and find the care they need. With the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 a month or less with financial help. Final deadline to enroll is January 16th. Healthcare.gov is here for millions like you. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hey, we're pretty social people at WIBC. You can find us all over social media. See what we're up to on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube. We're never more than just away. Just search for 93 WIBC. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is the Second Amendment, and this is the Gun Guy.
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, bang, bang.
With Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back for hour number 2 of the Gun Guy Show, 93 WIBC. So I've been talking quite a bit about NRA and Wayne LaPierre stepping down as executive vice president and CEO. And I think this is a good thing, but let's take stock of where NRA really is. Reportedly, and NRA never releases its actual membership lists or membership numbers specifically, but occasionally they will announce like a milestone of saying they've hit, like 5 million members, or they're approaching 6 million members, or something along those lines. And several reports I've seen say that NRA membership is down substantially. And listen, make no mistake, a lot of times NRA gets called the mouthpiece of the gun industry that's fully funded by firearms manufacturers or retailers. Or ammunition manufacturers, and that's really not the case. NRA is grassroots. NRA is a membership organization. Now, it has a legislative and lobbying wing called NRA-ILA, Institute for Legislative Action. And I've worked with NRA-ILA a lot. And they get their contributions from a number of different sources, and they won't turn down those contributions. They come in from large organizations. But primarily, the strength of NRA has been as a grassroots organization. Because people aren't just clicking it on a website. Moms Demand Action will come out and say they have X number of members. That's based on likes on their Facebook page or something. And if you're a member of NRA, it's because you've written a check. You gotten your credit card out and send them some money. And you can buy a 1-year membership, you can buy a multiple-year membership, you can buy a life membership, and then there are different levels of life membership. Like I said, I'm at the, third or fourth or fifth level above just life, called benefactor life member. And that's based on the money I've sent in. And I'm just one guy who believes in Second Amendment rights. But that's where NRA gets its power. And it gets primarily most of its funding is from you and me. And those people that are not happy with NRA because they don't see NRA as having fought hard enough on issues or being too conciliatory on things like the Hughes Amendment all the way back in 1986 or on bump stocks. And again, I don't know that many people really upset about bump stocks. That's not the issue. The issue is the precedent of ATF simply rewriting a law that really Congress should have rewritten for the law to change under basic constitutional principles and what we call the vesting clause of the Constitution, which says that all legislative power shall be vested in the Congress of the United States. And a legislative agency that's part of the executive branch is not part of Congress. So, and the NRA invited that. But also NRA has gotten itself in a real financial problems, financial straits, because it's gotten embroiled in a lot of litigation and they're spending tens of millions of dollars. I mean, when they have their report to the membership and when they come in and have these board meetings, they're talking about literally tens of millions of dollars that keeps getting spent. Money that ought to be going to fight for your Second Amendment rights. Instead is being used to defend litigation. Now, look, you don't have to have done anything wrong to get sued in this country. And for instance, the major lawsuit they're facing, they've spent a ton of money on, is by the New York Attorney General, Letitia James. And you've seen what she's done going after Trump, which has just been ridiculous. And is she a political animal motivated primarily by animus toward conservative causes, including the Second Amendment? Absolutely. Make no mistake. That's who Letitia James is. At the same time, NRA's brought some of this on itself based on what it's done with your money and my money. And there are reports of Wayne LaPierre with accounts at very expensive men's stores, and we're talking Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills, and spending tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on his own clothing line and billing that to NRA, taking luxury vacations and leasing yachts, going to the Caribbean, spending a lot more money than you and I can afford to go spend on a vacation. And they're doing that with NRA money. And look, they may say, hey, look, they're entertaining legislators or this is all productive and they're getting good things done. It doesn't feel like that. It doesn't smell like that. It smells like bilking the organization to put money in their own pocket and live a lifestyle that they want to live. Hey, I'd love to go to some men's store and on Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills and buy some custom-made suits. I don't know if they'd have anything on Beverly Hills that would be as conservative as I like for my suits to be. But if they're fully custom, we can make them what we make them. I can't afford to do that. But Wayne LaPierre did right there in Beverly Hills with your money and my money. And on that basis, a lot of people have been very upset with him, and it's led to this lawsuit in New York because what Letitia James, the Attorney General in New York, is doing is challenging the nonprofit status of NRA, saying, look, this thing is not a true nonprofit in the sense that it exists for the benefit of its members. It's existing for the benefit of its leadership, who are leading lifestyles they shouldn't be leading on NRA funds, with NRA funding. And on that basis, it shouldn't be granted nonprofit status, which has an effect on how you pay taxes and whatnot, because they don't operate as a nonprofit, because these people are getting rich in the process. And look, do I think that's exaggerated? No doubt about it. Do I think Letitia James is motivated in large part because she despises the Second Amendment? You bet. Has she weaponized the litigation process because she despises what NRA stands for in terms of an organization fighting for Second Amendment rights? No doubt. But the NRA also gave her a whole bunch of ammunition, no pun intended, by how they've spent your money and mine. And a lot of people have been upset with that. And look, there's been intrigue going on in the very leadership of NRA for quite some time. In 2019, a lot of this unfolded right here in Indianapolis. If you remember, we were hosting the NRA annual meeting in April of 2019. And at the time, Ollie North was president of NRA. Wayne LaPierre was still executive vice president and CEO. So Wayne was in charge, but Ollie was a close number two. And you remember who Ollie North is. He gained a lot of fame during the so-called Iran-Contra scandal. They were selling weapons to Iran and diverting those funds to the Sandinistas, who were fighting, to the more right-wing rebels, the Sandinistas, who were fighting left-wing organizations in Nicaragua. And a lot of people looked at that as simply being patriotic and him doing the right thing and being a little creative in how he got his funding. Other people looked at it as a violation of federal law. He did get convicted on some charges and had those convictions overturned, by the way, on appeal. But he was a kind of a famous guy, and a lot of people were excited. A lot of people saw him as a true patriot. A lot of people were excited to see him come in as president of NRA. But he clearly had a big dispute with Wayne LaPierre that unfolded right here in Indianapolis. Because he came for that Saturday. In fact, I saw him and spoke to him. But then left, and he apparently had tried to force Wayne LaPierre out. In fact, LaPierre announced that Ollie North had threatened to reveal harmful information about Wayne to the board of directors if Wayne didn't quit. And Ollie was trying to use this whole process with the board of directors to have Wayne voted out. And, you know, the old saying, he who shoots at the king must kill him, played out perfectly because Ollie apparently made a power play to force Wayne out. Wayne didn't go for it, fought Ollie tooth and nail, and Ollie then announced that he was being forced to leave instead. And in fact, another member of senior management of NRA, right on the stage, right here in Indianapolis, read a letter from Ollie North saying that he was leaving because he'd been forced out, because he still had very dire concerns about the management of NRA and Wayne LaPierre. So you had all this castle intrigue, and explicitly or implicitly, a lot of pointing of fingers at Wayne LaPierre saying, you've been doing inappropriate things, and you need to leave on that basis. Well, hell, that was almost 5 years ago. And only now, after a lot of the same information is coming out in this litigation in New York, is Wayne LaPierre leaving. So do I think this is a good thing? Yes. Do I think it should have happened years ago? Absolutely. Do I think Wayne LaPierre has caused the NRA to suffer in its prestige, its effectiveness, and its funding, its resources, and its economics? Absolutely. Have they gotten embroiled in litigation that should have been resolved long ago if NRA hadn't provided Letitia James with so damn much ammunition, so much cannon fodder to proceed with that litigation? And that trial starts Monday. And I do not think it is a coincidence that Wayne LaPierre resigned as NRA on the Friday preceding the Monday beginning of that trial in New York. And I think a lot of evidence is going to come out that's going to be extremely embarrassing to members of NRA. So, look, I'm glad the top management's being reorganized. I'm glad Wayne LaPierre is gone. But I also want to say that this is why I have also a love component in my view of NRA, my relationship with NRA, because NRA right here on the ground in Indiana has been fabulous. A lot of times for years, before I founded the 2A Project, I'd go to a hearing on some pro 2A bill, like one of the early iterations of constitutional carry, on my self-defense immunity bill that we got passed in 2019, on the church carry bill that we got passed in 2019. For a lot of years, I'd go to these meetings, and it'd be me, the NRA rep who had responsibility for Indiana. They typically have responsibility for several states, 6 or 7 states. But we've had great representation from NRA right here in Indiana, the folks responsible for Indiana. Dr. Chris Kopacki was our representative from NRA for a long time. He ended up getting promoted out of that job as he deserved to. And he was fabulous. John Weber, who's been on the show from NRA, has been great. We're talking about hardworking, smart people who put in the time, the effort. And they're at the State House, man. I know because I'm there and I see them. And they're participating in those incredibly early morning conference calls and showing up late at night after a session to discuss strategy. And they're putting the time and the effort in, and they've done a fabulous job. And they've accomplished a lot. I don't think we would have gotten our church carry bill passed. I just got a private message on social media saying, what the hell is the church carry bill? I will respond to that when we come back. But I'm not sure we would have gotten any of those things done with that NRA. And one of the big reasons I formed the 2A project is I saw the problems unfolding at NRA. I saw them starting to lose membership and lose credibility. And I was really worried about losing momentum right here in Indiana on things like constitutional carry. And did not want to allow that to happen. That's why I formed the 2A project. And listen, on constitutional carry, NRA was here working hard and were a tremendous help. But the people who showed up, people who attended the hearings, people who sent the emails, people who made the phone calls to the representatives and senators' offices, that was the listeners of the Gun Guy Show and members of the 2A project. And we were right up front, and the legislators involved in that process give the 2A project a whole hell of a lot of credit for being right up front in supporting that. But that's in part because we're local and we can bring that support to bear. But NRA was right there shoulder to shoulder and working their asses off, and those were the local reps. And so don't ever lose sight, as frustrated as we can be with NRA at the national level, the fact that they're going to be restructured at the top end. You know, the Kessel intrigue from 2019 didn't play out as I wish it would have. I wish it would have resulted in Wayne LaPierre leaving. But now he's gone now. He's gone now after almost 5 years, and I think that's probably 10 years later than it should have happened, if not more. But don't lose sight of what great things NRA has done here locally, and don't lose sight of how many people have been trained in marksmanship and gun safety by NRA instructors. I've been an NRA certified instructor for, 25 years plus. And our NRA instructors teach tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people every year on gun safety and marksmanship. And those are bringing future generations into not only self-defense type carrying, but the shooting sports and others. NRA sponsors various shooting sport events. The NRA Competition Center right now is down at Camp Atterbury, and they put a beautiful facility in down there, and that's from NRA. So let's don't lose sight of the great things they've done and the benefit they've had even right here in Indiana for our gun rights. And let's hope at the national level they get their act together. I think the developments of yesterday are a big step in the right direction. In the meantime, we're well past the quarter hour, so we're taking a break. I'm going to go back to your calls when we come back, 317-239-9393. What are your feelings on NRA right now? If you let your membership lapse, are you inclined to join them again? And by the way, you can join the 2A Project and the NRA. There's nothing wrong with, I'm a member of NRA and I founded the 2A Project. Nothing wrong with being members of both, particularly when the NRA is out there to fight for us on the national level. But how do you feel about those issues? Give us a call. Join the discussion, 317-239-9393. That's 317-239-9393. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
The National Toy Hall of Fame has announced its new class. Baseball cards, Cabbage Patch Kids, Fisher-Price Corn Popper, that little thing you push, and Nerf.
Yeah. Nerf?
Nerf made it in.
I think I'm good with the list. Literally, I think a stick is in the National Toy Hall of Fame.
It is.
Who didn't make it?
Slime. It's a staple of Nickelodeon.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Guy Relford for Tactical Firearms Training. Our most popular course is our Essentials of Indiana Gun Law class. I just taught one of those today out at Indy Arms. It was a full class. It was sold out a couple of weeks before we even had the class. But we've got another one scheduled on February 24th, also going to be at Indy Arms. This is 9 a.m. to 2 o'clock p.m., conveniently located there on the northeast side of Indy. It's $50 for an individual, $95 for couples. It's 5 hours, the most important legal information you need as an Indiana gun owner, and we'd love for you there to check that out. You can register right online at tactical-firearms.com. Just click on upcoming courses at tactical-firearms.com.
Terry Stacy for Cardwell Do It Best Home Center, just south of the Gateway Arch on Indy's South Side. Your discount roofing headquarters. Stop in for wholesale and factory direct pricing on the roofing shingles and supplies you need at the price you love. They offer dimensional and 3-tab shingles at low prices. Cardwell also carries a full line of best look quality paints produced by Sherwin-Williams, America's largest paint manufacturer, with paint and primer all in one. Cardwell also carries a full line of Hillman fasteners, and for winter, snow shovels, rock salt, and ice melter all in stock. At Cardwell Do It Best, you'll also find a full line of lawn and garden supplies, plumbing, electrical, with lumber and building materials too. Cardwell Home Center. Shop online at cardwellhomecenter.com with over 67,000 products available and free shipping to the store. Cardwell Do It Best, 3205 Madison Avenue, just south of the Gateway Arch on Indy's South Side, serving the greater Indianapolis community since 1945.
Winter is here, and if you've already had enough of the cold drafts blowing through your old windows, bundling up in layers of clothes and blankets, and hearing the heat turn on for the 5th time this hour, then it's time to talk to the pros at Window Nation. Replacing those old windows with quality, energy-efficient ones from Window Nation is easier and more affordable than you think. Right now through the end of the month, replace the windows in your home and pay no interest for 5 years. That's a great deal, and on top of that, Window Nation is also giving you 50% off all window styles.
Window Nation's professional installation means your windows will fit right, so you won't have to worry about leaky, dirty windows and those cold drafts letting out your heat anymore. Don't wait. With 0 interest for 5 years, why not give Window Nation a look? Let Window Nation show you all the options to fit your needs and budget. It's easy. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. Tell them Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Basements get a bad rap, probably because so many of them are wet, leaky, and musty. Michaelis is putting an end to the horror show. Their time-tested waterproofing systems eliminate and prevent water issues. Damp and moldy becomes clean and healthy. They have a lot of homeowners enjoying their basements again. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
500 Guns is just east of the Speedway and the Viaduct on 16th Street. Joe and Guy Montgomery are the experts to trust when you want to buy or sell guns. They buy single guns or entire collections. If you've decided this is the year to become a gun owner or to add to your collection, don't buy until you visit 500 Guns. Contrary to what many think, you actually can get better pricing at 500 Guns than at the big box stores, and a lot better service. See them today. 500 Guns, West 16th Street, Indianapolis.
Don't stress about plumbing repairs. Call LD Smith for honest advice and a free second opinion on any estimate.
LD Smith Plumbing.
A dirty, stinking honest.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect yourself from a natural disaster. Sign up for local alerts, prepare an emergency kit, and make a family communications plan. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Through their service, veterans have our backs. Now we should have theirs. Learn more at gotyoursix.org.
For those fortunate enough to help the person who has always been their hero, find the care guides you need to help at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. Learn more at helpnokidhungry.org.
Now you've got a gun guy. Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. So I was talking about the church carry bill that we also got passed here in Indiana in 2019, where the NRA really was tremendous help. And I had somebody on social media ask me what the heck that is, and I'd love to explain it. I talk about this a lot in my gun law class, but Church carry, what are we talking about? There's never been a law in Indiana, at least in my lifetime, and I'm damn old, that says it's against the law to carry a gun in a church. However, there's a law that says that it's illegal to carry a gun on school property. And school property in Indiana is defined as property owned, leased, managed by a school corporation or a private, public, or parochial school. And it's also defined as that any property that's included on the same land or co-owned with a school. So how many churches, well, let's talk about Catholic church. How many Catholic churches have a parochial school on the same grounds? What, all of them? Or at least a whole bunch. How many other churches have a school on the same grounds or in the same building? And that includes a licensed daycare. Now, there's a separate process for churches to have daycare, but if it's licensed by the state as a daycare, that counts as a school. And then K through 12, well, how many churches have schools on the same grounds or even in the same building? That makes the church school property. And it doesn't matter that the school isn't in session. Let's say there's a parochial school on the same grounds with a Catholic church. It doesn't matter that there are no kids in there on Saturday or Sunday when they're holding services in the church. It doesn't matter that the school's empty. If there's a school on the same property, the church is school property. And the law says you can't carry a gun into a school. So it's been kind of ridiculous for a lot of years and something we fought hard to pass. In fact, the first bill on this that I saw was filed by Senator Jack Sandlin, who's been somebody really fighting hard out there for Second Amendment rights for a lot of years. He's got a law enforcement background, and we just lost Senator Sandlin here this last year. And that's very sad on a personal level because he's a good guy. He was just a great guy and a strong advocate for Second Amendment rights. But he filed a bill some number of years ago, we called the Church Carry Bill, that said even if there's a school on the same grounds, if you're attending church, specifically a worship service or a religious ceremony in a house of worship, even though it's on school property because there's a school in the same building or on the same grounds, you can carry your gun in the church. And this is important. Why? Well, how many mass shootings have we seen in churches? I mean, Sutherland Springs, 20-some people just mowed down. And by the way, at the time in Texas, it was illegal to have a gun in that church. So people sitting around unarmed, guy walks in there with a rifle, killed 20-some people. And only an armed citizen that lived nearby who heard the shooting grabbed his own AR-15, ran out, had a running gunfight with the bad guy, chased the bad guy in a vehicle, and ended up shooting and killing him. A shot he had fired ended up being the fatal shot of that bad guy. But multiple people murdered in a church. Jack Wilson was a hero in White Settlement, Texas, where a guy came in with a shotgun, started killing people, killed 2 people. And Jack made a headshot with one shot from 45 feet away, shooting over a bunch of screaming congregants in the church. So an armed citizen saved the day. And that's just 2 that come to me off the top of my head. We've seen many other shootings, including mass shootings in churches. There are people that want to kill you. There are people that want to murder you just because of how you worship. And if they hate you on a religious basis, and that could be based on ideology, it could be based on the fact they're just a lunatic, that they're psychotic. But if they hate you based on how and who you worship, they know right where to find you. So is it important to be able to defend yourself and your family when you're in church? Absolutely. For years, it was a felony to carry into a lot of churches because they were considered school property. Well, in 2019, we got that changed. And the so-called Church Carry Bill was passed that says if you're attending a worship service or a religious ceremony in a house of worship, even if that house of worship is located on school property, you're legal to have your gun there. Or if you're an employee or a volunteer for the house of worship that happens to be on school property, you're legal to have your gun there. So church security teams, a lot of times for years, I've done training of church security teams. They've come to me and said, hey, we want you to do our training. I said, great, you're going to have an armed security team. Yes, we are. Let me ask you, is there a school on the same property with your church? Yes, there is. Do you have permission from the school board to have guns in the church? And they looked at me and said, why would we have to go to the school board? That's the school. We're the church. I said, because one of the only exceptions to having a gun on school property, that being a crime to have guns on school property, is if you've been authorized by the school board to have guns on school property. So you have to go to the school board, even though they're the school people and you're the church people. You got to go to the school board and get permission to have a gun in the church. And they look at me like I'm crazy. Why does the law say that? I said, well, we're trying to get that changed, but that's what it says right now. Well, in 2019, we got that passed and got that changed. And so now if you're attending a worship service or a religious ceremony in a house of worship, even if it is school property because there's a school in the same building or on the same property, you're legal to have your gun in that worship service or while you're acting as an employee or volunteer for the house of worship. Now, it does say religious ceremony or worship service. So I've had people call me and say, well, what about a wedding? I always say the same thing. I go, well, it's in a church, so make sure if somebody mentions God, let's make sure we talk about the big guy. And I don't say that to be flippant. My dad retired at age 88 as a Methodist minister, so I grew up in the church. But make sure it can be described as a religious ceremony of some type, even though it's not a classic worship service because it's a wedding. And a funeral the same way. And that's a big change because now literally millions of people in Indiana, where they go to worship, well, it was illegal. It was a felony for them to carry a gun before, and now it's legal. And that was a change we made in 2019. And Jack Sandlin did not author the bill that we ultimately got passed. Ben Smaltz, representative from Auburn, wrote that particular bill, but in large part it was based on earlier iterations of the same bill entered in the Senate by Senator Jack Sandlin, and I still think of that bill as a big tribute to him. And now that we've lost him, I think that's even more important. Well, if we have time, we'll talk more about this legislative session and what we see coming up, both on the pro 2A and anti 2A side of things. But also, I mentioned the self-defense immunity bill. We also got passed 2019. Just got several questions asking me what that is and could I please explain and how does that protect Hoosiers. I'm always happy to talk about that law because I wrote it. It was introduced and championed by Representative Jim Lucas, who did a great job. NRA was fabulous support as well. But I wrote it, and it was based on several actual lawsuits that I defended. And I just got yesterday an order that really makes me feel good because it's putting that law into action to not only get a particular frivolous lawsuit dismissed, but also get the attorney's fees back from my client, from the person who filed that frivolous lawsuit. So I'll explain more about that and how that works when we come back. And we want to continue to take your calls for the rest of the show. Give us a call, 317-239-9393. That's 317-239-9393. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Kendall and Casey.
When I was a boy, I used to have an affinity for professional wrestling. I was always a fan of the bad guy managers, and I used to tell my dad, I said, someday I will make them love to hate me. And I feel like at 39 years old, as I near my 40th birthday, I have achieved my life's ambition as I have made them love to hate me.
Kendall and Casey, weekdays 9 till noon on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
I'm Darren Andrews from We Grow Hair India, and 18 years ago, I got my hair back.
I'm Rob, and 2 years ago, I got my hair back.
Let this be your year to get your hair back and get your confidence back. Go to WeGrowHairIndy.com right now. We Grow Hair Indy has the multi-unit hair grafting hair transplant. That was the procedure that was best for me. Their easy 30-minute PRP and laser treatments fit into any man or woman's schedule. Find out which procedure is right for you. Call 317-522-2995 for your free hair and scalp evaluation.
I'm Rick DeMoline, former professional football player. I got my hair back.
Hey, Barry Krause, #1 draft pick. I got my hair back.
Join me and thousands of others and get your hair back. Call 317-522-2995 or visit WeGrowHairIndy.com. That's 317-522-2995. This year, get your hair back. Get your confidence back.
After this hypnosis, I want to eat good food.
Since August, I can honestly say I have not had one potato chip.
It was life-changing for me.
And I don't think about desserts like I used to.
Bridget, how much have you lost now?
I had lost a total of 83 pounds.
Holy cow.
It's easy, it's fun, very relaxing, and very successful.
And I would just say go for it.
What are you waiting for? Join Mark Patrick seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed. Early bird special only $49.99. Hypnosis designed to destroy unwanted cravings, late night eating binges, boredom eating, stress eating. Seminars Thursday, January 25th at the Holiday Inn, Indianapolis Airport. Weight loss seminar 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking seminar 8 p.m. Or Saturday, January 27th at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites in Noblesville. Weight loss seminar 11 a.m. Stop smoking seminar 2 p.m. Registration is 30 minutes before the seminar. Sign up at markpatrickseminars.com. That's markpatrickseminars.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by BillEstisTrucks.com. Fox News, I'm Ted Linder. The 2024 presidential primary campaign's heating up. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley saying she would not rule out being former President Trump's running mate if he gets the nomination. Fellow GOP presidential candidate and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, though, criticizing her stance for being non-definitive. He was on Fox's Cavuto Live.
The question is, why can't she just give a straight answer? Either yes, you would accept, or no, you would not. And instead, we get the typical politician speak. I've said definitively, no, that's not what I'm running for, and we're in it to win it.
And a powerful nor'easter impacting parts of the eastern seaboard today, bringing the region's first major winter storm of the year with snow, wind, and freezing rain. Heavy snow falling across Pennsylvania and western Maryland Saturday afternoon with an accumulation around 1 to 2 inches per hour. Widespread winter storm warnings remain in effect for several inches of snow across swaths of the interior mid-Atlantic, Northeast, and New England. America's listening to Fox News.
We've been telling you about the mission of Villa Lici of Indianapolis, a local organization building the first of its kind assisted living residential community for people who have suffered a traumatic brain injury. Right now, there's a matching grant up to $100,000 if Villa Lici can raise another $100,000 to maximize this kind gift. Listen to those who can benefit, those whose lives tragically declined after their accidents.
I had a lot of friends, but it's like a lot of friends like disappeared. I'll just put it like that.
I rarely think about what I used to do because I feel it makes me sad to think about things you can't do anymore.
What they can't give, we can give. What they can't do, we can do. Here's Joe Wrights.
With your help, we will build Villa Lici, the first community in the United States for survivors of a traumatic brain injury.
Go to braininjury.me and donate today.
Hey, I don't know about you, but this winter weather has already got me thinking about my next vacation. And I don't go anywhere on vacation without my AAA card. AAA is your peace of mind. I mean, whether we're talking about a Caribbean cruise, or exploring Europe, visiting Alaska, heading to Disney with the family, you shouldn't go anywhere without that AAA card. I don't. And now AAA can even help you plan your next vacation.
Exclusive vacation deals, expert presentations, complimentary travel planning, and more. And the best part? It's free. You don't even have to be a AAA member to attend. So whether you're looking to travel this year, next year, or beyond, save the date for the AAA Vacation Expo, Saturday, January 13th at the JW Marriott downtown. Get more information and pre-register for your chance to win a $500 AAA travel voucher at AAA.com/expo.
He's a Second Amendment attorney. He's an NRA certified firearms instructor. He's the gun guy. Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. Talking about the self-defense immunity bill that we also got passed 2019. This a lot of fun for me to talk about again. I like to brag on it because I wrote it, but it was based on some litigation, some cases that I actually defended, and I've now defended more than a handful. I think the number's now 8 people that have taken a human life, but it completely justifiably and completely legally because they were defending their own lives or defending other innocent lives. In fact, all of them, looking back on what they did, are heroes who put themselves in harm's way, typically to defend other people. I mean, I represented in civil litigation, I represented the hero of Rob shooting, an armed robbery that he prevented at Kroger. I believe it's at 71st and Georgetown. And there was an armed robbery going on. Guy came in, said he had a gun, was robbing the place, was trying to force a female employee back into an office for who knows what reason. And my client was an assistant manager of the store, challenged the bad guy. Bad guy then charged at my client, who drew a gun and defended himself and saved likely his life and the lives of other Kroger employees at the time. I represented a gentleman who was the hero who stopped a mass shooting in Brownsburg just a couple, 3 years ago, where a guy going through a schizophrenic breakdown had stopped traffic, actually stopped his car in the middle of 56th Street as he was driving west on 56 into Brownsburg because, he was suffering a mental breakdown, saw some cemetery workers, decided that they were some kind of demons, and just slammed his car into park, jumped out of his car, ran into the cemetery, and killed one of these cemetery workers, who were lifelong friends, by the way, grew up together, got this job together, and he was chasing the other guy, actually shooting at him as they're running through traffic. And my client, from a seated position from inside his car, shooting through the window that he had rolled down, stopped that murder in process. And who knows how many other people this guy would have killed, because he clearly was suffering this horrendous breakdown. That guy, by the way, that hero, was a graduate of my Essentials of Indiana gun law class and followed my recommendations 100% on what you say and what you do after being involved in a self-defense shooting. And it all played out very much to his benefit. As we talk about aftermath and what you say and what you do immediately after having been involved in a self-defense scenario, and that was awesome. He did not get sued. In large part, his name was never released to the public. But that was also after the self-defense immunity bill had gone into effect. And I'd like to think the bill was one of the reasons he did not get sued. Because it happened many years earlier, before we had that bill in place, the hero at Kroger did get sued. And several other of my clients did as well. That's why they became my clients, because they were getting sued. And the situation that really propelled the bill forward that I wrote was really motivated in large part. It was by my historical experience with this type of litigation, but it was a particular case involving my client, Kirsty Janin. Janin was her name at the time. And she was a single mom and had two teenage daughters. She's saving for them to go to college. And she heroically saved the life of a police officer who was in a battle for his life because he got assaulted, got attacked by a guy high on drugs, meth and several other drugs during a traffic stop that played out literally right in Kisty's front yard. She sees this unfolding, sees the officer go down, sees the bad guy on top of the officer. They're now wrestling over the officer's gun, and the officer's losing. The gun's coming around. It's about to be pointed at the officer's face with the bad guy's finger on the trigger. And they're fighting over this gun. Kisty grabs her gun, runs out there, screaming for the bad guy to get off the cop. Get off him, stop. The guy doesn't. Officer's about to lose his life. Kisty fires one shot and ended the threat and saved that police officer's life. And the police called her a hero. That officer whose life was saved clearly called her a hero. prosecutor's office called her a hero. She was not prosecuted, obviously, for a crime because she was a hero. She saved a life. What she did was completely justified under our self-defense statute. But she still got sued. She got sued for millions of dollars by some scumball plaintiff's attorney who said she overreacted and her use of force was not justified, implying that she was just a hysterical female who overreacted to a situation where she just saw a couple of guys tussling. No, she saw a police officer about to get shot in the face with his own gun, and she saved his life. But she got sued over it. And when Kirsty hired me, she actually had a GoFundMe set up by the local FOP down there, the Fraternal Order of Police. They called it Kisty's Best Defense because they wanted to find the best lawyer they could find for her. And they then called the NRA in Virginia and said, we want a self-defense lawyer in Indiana. And I'm proud to say they recommended me. And so I obviously took that case. I was proud to take that case. And I told Kisty early on, I said, you know what? Not only are we going to get this silly case dismissed, we're going to use this case as exhibit number 1 to get this law changed. And we're going to write an immunity bill. I'm going to write it. We're going to get it filed. Jim Lucas again filed it and was a hero to get it pushed through. But we're going to show how ridiculous this is. But because you can be fully justified and still get sued, that's not the way it should be. With that, let's take a break here. We come back, I'll finish that story and how not only did we get that past 2019, but how that just played out to get an award of attorney's fees in a self-defense shooting situation that I just received yesterday. Actually, it was issued yesterday. I didn't see the order until I stopped by my office to print my sign-up sheet for the class I was teaching today. So I was at my office very early and saw this order had been issued by the court, just issued yesterday. And it's a big victory. It's a big victory for gun owners, and it's a big disincentive for lawyers to file lawsuits where someone has been fully justified and legal in using force in self-defense or the defense of others. That's how we'll wrap the show up when we come back. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
As we turn the calendar to the new year, the Indiana Hoosiers turn their calendar to the Big Ten season. Coach Mike Woodson and the Hoosiers are preparing for big games.
Indiana's going to win it.
Big hopes. Big Ten. Ohio State heads to Bloomington to take on the Hoosiers. Tonight, John Herrick with the pregame at 7. Don Fisher with the tip at 8 on your home for IU basketball. 93 WIBC.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
You still thinking job change in the new year?
Yeah, I need something that's in high demand and more stable in this economy.
IT?
Yeah, cybersecurity, maybe even AI.
That's what I did.
Really? How?
Went to My Computer Career. You don't need any prior experience, and you could start your new career in a matter of months. A lot of IT pros go to school there, too, to level up.
Sweet. Are classes online or on campus?
Both.
Wow, I'll check it out. Thanks.
Make this your year. Take the free career evaluation now at mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Guy Relford for Pinnacle Firearms in Carmel. These are my friends, and they do a great job for guns, ammunition, and accessories you might want to purchase, or gunsmithing. They have a certified gunsmith right there on premises, and expert refinishing as well. They've done it for me. They can do it for you. Check them out at pinnacle-firearms.com or stop by and see them at 598 West Carmel Drive in Carmel. That's Pinnacle Firearms, my friends, located in Carmel.
Attorney Joe Cordell.
Business owners and professionals face special challenges in divorce court. In addition to everything else going on, they have to contend with allegations that they are earning more than they are, coupled with claims on their business or practice itself. Clients with assets depend on their divorce lawyer's skills in these matters, and that's why it's so important to hire someone that has those skills.
Schedule an appointment with one of Cordell & Cordell's Indianapolis area attorneys. 101 West Ohio Street, Suite 1250, Indianapolis, Indiana 46204.
AE Ammo is Greenwood's ammunition superstore. The largest variety in training, hunting, and self-defense ammo with the best prices locally guaranteed. Factory new 9mm FMJ ammo starting at $12 per 50-round box. Factory new 50-round boxes, $380 from $14.99 and $45 ACP from $18.99. And with the AE Ammo Customer Rewards Program, start earning points today towards money back to use on future purchases. Shop in-store or online at aeammo.com.
On the battlefield, there's a saying America's military men and women live by.
Never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Off the battlefield, Wounded Warrior Project operates with the same goal. Wounded Warrior Project was created to help our men and women returning home with the scars of war, whether those scars are physical or mental. Wounded Warrior Project. We never leave a fallen warrior behind, ever. Learn more about what we do at woundedwarriorproject.org.
Pat Sullivan here. Do gurgling pipes and running toilets keep you up at night? Become a member at Hope Plumbing and have the comfort of knowing you have a plumber on call. For only $8 a month, you get the ease of having your own plumber on hand, a 10% discount on all plumbing services, 1 annual free mainline cleaning, 1 annual plumbing safety inspection, and all the trip charges waived. Call Hope Plumbing today and become a member to start saving big.
My husband, Bob, has Parkinson's, and he needs more help now, and I need more support to help him. Thanks to Indiana Pathways for Aging, we're getting the support we need to help him right here at home, like with meal prep and basic personal care, and even respite support for me.
Pathways provides Hoosier Medicaid members, age 60 and over, support for care their way, so they can live life their way. The program begins in summer of 2024. Call 87-PATHWAY-4 or visit in.gov/pathways.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Second to none on the Second Amendment. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
Well, welcome back for the last segment here of the Gun Guy Show, and it's going to be another short one since as I'm prone to do, I went a little long on a couple of the segments here of this show. But so what is the self-defense immunity bill we have here in Indiana now? And it's the strongest immunity bill, self-defense immunity bill in the country. And what it says is if you're justified using force to defend yourself or a third person, you can't be sued for that. And if someone's trying to commit a forcible felony or unlawfully cause serious bodily injury to someone and you use force that's justified in self-defense or defense of another person, and that person then files a lawsuit against you or their estate if they're deceased, as happened in the Kissy Janin situation, as happened in the Kroger situation, and several. So the bad guys shot and killed in lawful and justified force in self-defense or defense of third persons, and their personal representative, their estate, files a lawsuit. There's a mechanism in the statute, just because you have immunity in that situation, especially where you're not prosecuted for a crime, there's a mechanism to have that case dismissed early on what's called summary judgment. So the defendant doesn't have to spend a whole bunch of money and years of litigation to defend a frivolous lawsuit. And therefore, the settlement leverage goes away for the plaintiff. But then, if it's dismissed on the basis of the immunity, or tried and the defendant wins on the basis of immunity, then there's a mandatory attorney's fees award. And the plaintiffs who filed the lawsuit actually have to reimburse the attorney's fees of the defendant. And what did I get early this morning in my email? From a court right here in Marion County, a court order awarding attorney's fees to my client who acted in self-defense, and we got a case dismissed against them. So that's a happy ending. Right, this is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
In order for small businesses to thrive, they need to be smart, efficient, savvy, staying ahead of the market at every turn, finding ways to do more with less, and taking advantage